Go for it. You're good to go.
Okay. I'm going to start out by just showing the supplies, and then I'll move the camera so you can see what my hands are doing, and then we'll start making it. So the supply list will tell you that you need 3 rolls of deco mesh in whatever colors you want. And it comes in rolls like this. It's actually, there's 3 different sizes. There's a 6-inch, a 10-inch, and a 21-inch. We want the 10-inch. And once it's out of the plastic, this is what it looks like. Sort of this meshy. It feels, this one's really kind of heavy. It feels like plastic, and then it has like a tinsel through it. And then we need 4 different types of ribbon. If you don't want to use different ribbon, you don't have to. You can use all the same. I prefer 2.5-inch and 1.5-inch, and always use wired ribbon. It's just easier to manipulate. You need a rotary cutter or a pair of scissors. And then your wreath form, I buy these at Dollar Tree of all places. It's 14 inches across. It's metal, but you can get them at Hobby Lobby, Joann's, but Dollar Tree for $1, sure, why not? And then I think that's it. We're gonna cut, I'm gonna show you how to cut up the mesh. You'll need 24 cuts for the outside of the wreath, and then 6 cuts for the inside of the wreath. And depending on if you're using multiple colors will depend on how many cuts you need per color. I'm just going to show you how to cut the yellow, and then that's how we'll put it together. So I think that's all the supplies.
Beth Ann,
So
can
I'm going to go ahead and move. Yeah.
that stuff, every time I do anything with that, I use that with my Christmas tree for filler.
Uh-huh.
It sticks to me and it frays on the end. Are you going to talk about that? Is there a trick that I need to know?
No, unfortunately. It
Okay.
sticks to everything. Um, if you use a wood burning tool to cut it, it will fray less because part of it is plastic, so it melts the end.
Okay.
Also, when you get your mesh, this end here, this is actually what most of your sticking is. So
Okay.
if you can look and make sure that it isn't extra long, but there's really nothing to do about it.
Okay.
It is very durable though. So if it starts to stick to itself, just pull it apart. The frays on the end, here, let me do it like this.
Yeah.
Yes. That will be helped by the burning tool, but I personally have never, I just go back in and cut them off if they get to be too ridiculous when I'm
Okay.
making wreaths.
How about I've heard when you're using burlap that you can use like decoupage or clear nail polish on the end. Have you ever tried that?
Yes, I have. I used on the burlap, I actually sew the end down.
Oh,
I also find that if you curl the end in when you're like I'm going to scrunch this up. So when I'm scrunching, if you curl the end in, that also helps with the fraying and not sticking so much to itself.
okay, cool. Thanks for the tips.
Yep. So, oh, and then you also need a sign, or you don't. You can always make a bow. We're not going to make a bow tonight, but I just picked, I gave Jamie a couple of options, and this is the one we made. So all of my stuff is coordinated to this sign with the bees and the honeycomb. I kind of love it. So I'm going to move you up. Hopefully I don't drop the phone.
Beth Ann, do you just go to Amazon or Michael's or Hobby Lobby, or where do you typically get, where's the best price for those signs?
Um, This particular sign I got off of a group on Etsy. I'm glad you can't see me right now because I'm literally like leaning forward to look at your face. I look like an idiot. Good thing you're not taping this part. I get off of Etsy, but I've used signs that I've gotten at the Dollar Tree. I have used signs that I found at Hobby Lobby. Like these signs here, if you can see, she drilled holes in them for me. But there are tricks to adding pipe cleaners to the back of any sign that you might have to add it to your wreath. So it just a little hot glue and some pipe cleaners. That was the other thing that I didn't tell you we needed. Pipe cleaners. You can just glue it on to any sign that you have and let the glue dry, and then you can attach it that way. But I like, this is Personalize It by Pam, did these signs. It's a really nice quality, and it's treated so that it doesn't, you can leave it outside and it won't fade. Okay, so we're gonna start with our wreath form. Can everybody see me?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing we're gonna do, let's cut first. Sorry, I said I would cut first. Okay. When you are cutting your mesh for this wreath, we're gonna do cut of 20 inches, but don't think that it needs to be exact. 18 inches, 20 inches, 12 inches, it really doesn't matter. It really just adds to the fullness of the finished wreath. And you just roll it out and cut it. The wreath that I made, I used yellow, white, and this burlap, which I kind of love, which is a black and white. And I did yellow and the black together, and then white on the inside. We're going to cut a couple of these just so I have them to show you that when we're working the wreath. It springs back on itself. That's not a problem. It also, like Jamie had said, it will stick. It sticks to the carpet. It sticks to your clothes.
How many total pieces of the different colors altogether do you need?
The Deco mesh, you need 24. You need 30 cuts total. We're going to put 24 on the outside and 6 on the center.
And even though it doesn't have to be exact measurement, they're about the same size, approximately, all of them.
Correct. We're not going to do a whole wreath, so I'm not going to cut 30 slices, but let me get a few more out. And then we'll make our wreath form. Obviously, you need a way to attach the mesh to the wreath. So we're going to use pipe cleaners or chenille stems, craft stems, whatever they call them. You can buy a wreath form that's already has the stems on it. Those I know are available at, I I've seen them in the holidays at Joann's. I know Hobby Lobby stocks them year round. But they're, well, you know, you buy everything with a coupon, right? But they're about $7.99 to $10.99 at Hobby Lobby. And since the wreath form at the Dollar Tree is only $1, and you can buy a huge pack of these chenille stems at Joann's for like $3, to me it just is more economical to do it, to make your own. So that's why I've never used one of the work wreaths. I always make my own. Okay, so those are my cut. We're also going to have to cut our ribbon, but I want to go ahead and make the wreath form first. So you're going to take your chenille stem. We need, well, 18 of them. Sorry, doing math in my head. We're going to do 18. We're going to do 12 on the outside and 6 on the inside, and I'll show you how to do that.
Okay, I'm an amateur and never did this. What is a Chanel stem? Is that what you called it?
Yep, pipe cleaner. It's a
okay.
foot-long pipe cleaner.
You're using a pipe cleaner, and they also have a
Oh.
different word for it in places. Okay, I'm with you.
Yes. I don't have the top of my package, or I'd tell you what they're. But yeah, if you go into Joann's or Hobby Lobbies and ask them for pipe cleaners, they'll send you to these.
Yeah.
On your wreath form, there's 4. I'm not sure. I'm hoping you can see me here. There's 4 bars across, and then there's 6 of these brackets that go around. We're going to work on the outside 2 bars and the inside 2 bars.
Okay.
So we're going to start on a bracket because it makes it easy. And we're going to take our chenille stem or our pipe cleaner, and we're going to put it under the wreath and around the bracket, around these 2 outside bars. Line it up about halfway in the middle. It's very forgiving. You don't need to have it exact. We're going to hide most of this later anyway. And then bring it together and just pull it tight and then twist it a couple of times. And I'm going to try and leave them this way because this is how I'm going to put my mesh in. So I want them up and in this angle because this is where I want to put my mesh. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do 12 on these outside 2 rings, which means I'm going to do 1 on every one of the 6 brackets, and then 1 in the center of every 6 brackets. So again, I'm just lining it up in the middle as best I can, holding it together and twisting, and then giving it a couple of twists. The ones in the middle will move around. They'll shimmy back and forth. That's okay. Again, it's all very forgiving and you'll be okay. I'm just going to keep going. And then I'll do one more here. Okay, so I'm going to go around and I'm going to put 12 on the outside. And then in the inner 2 circles, these 2 here, these 2 bars, I'm only going to put them on the bracket. So I only need 6 in the center. Yeah, it like reminds me of like kind of like what Wyatt bedroom. Pull it tight and give it a couple of twists. Okay. So once you're done going the whole way around, then I like to push these in to get them out of my way. Just point them into the middle because we're going to start on the outside. We're going to set this to the side. And we're going to start with our mesh. Now it will, because this one I cut from the inside of the roll, it's going to roll back on itself. So if you prefer, you can put something heavy on it to hold it in place. You're going to lay it out as flat as you can. You're going to start at the end down here. You're going to put your fingers as close to the middle as possible. Your thumbs, I mean, close to the middle as possible, and sort of hold it there. And then with your fingers, you're going to start scooting it all towards you. This mesh particularly is nice because it has these tinsel strips through it. So I can just kind of follow the stripe and know that since it does roll up on you, I find, let me do that again for you. See, it's rolling up, but if you push it out and just keep pulling, it'll unravel on itself.
Beth Ann, that rotary cutter, does that work almost like a pizza cutter? Like you just hold it down and cut?
Yes, exactly like a pizza cutter.
Yeah.
But the blade is ridiculously sharp.
Yeah.
I have very easily gone to cut something and just swiping it over my hand, like not even with any force or anything, and have cut myself. So be
Yeah.
careful with that.
Okay.
Okay, so when we're done, we should have something like this, like a little bow tie. Sort of. The ends are rolled under a little bit. And then we're going to take our wreath form back over here. And we're going to set this right down in the center. Crisscross. And then one good twist. At that point, you can sort of move it around. Fluff it up a little bit. Keep because we're going to go in again and put another one over top. Just one twist is fine. You can do two, but if you do more than that till you're done with the entire wreath, you have a large, like, good inch of stuff, and it makes it wonky. That's the technical term for it, wonky. So I'm going to do white as my second row. So again, I apologize. You probably can't see very well with, I should have flipped my mat over. Let's do that. So again, we're going to roll it out. Thumbs in the middle, fingers out, and then just pull it towards. Now this mesh, this white mesh, isn't as heavy, doesn't feel as heavy as the yellow one. So it's a little bit more light. And then it also, I like to roll my ends under. It's just a personal preference. But again, we have that little bow tie. And then we're going to come over here and right back where the yellow one was, We're going to go right on top of it, same direction. And again, pull it really tight and just one twist. And you can fluff them up. You can fluff as you go, or you can fluff at the end. It doesn't matter. Now at that point, we aren't going to tie this off because we're going to put ribbon here later, but we're going to do all of the mesh first. So let me do another one for you. And you're going to use the same technique the whole way around. I'm going to start with your thumb, pull it around. There are a lot of different techniques, I'll call it, for lack of a better term, shapes that you can make with your deco mesh. You can do curlicues, like rolls. You can roll the ends. If you have a screen door or a patio door or a storm door on your front door or your side door, wherever you're putting your wreath, a lot of people don't have a lot of space between them. And this wreath, the way I'm making it now, will, when it's finished, will be about 8 inches deep. So if that's too big and it's going to smash between your door, there is a method to use to make what they call a pancake wreath, which flattens this little bow tie out basically, so that it's only about 4 inches. Okay, now, so we're coming into this center one. Again, we're just going to kind of move it to the side. Like I said, it's very forgiving, so it will stick to itself. You just get in there. Pull it tight, and one twist. We'll do the white, and then I'll show you the ribbon. Now for the wreath I'm doing, I did enough cut to do 2 colors on the outside, 12 of each, and then 1 color in the center and just 1. Because you're putting your sign there and you're putting ribbon, you don't need to fill the center. So I find that just 1 layer on these center ones is better. When a couple of tips at this point, when you get the whole outside done, you're going to sort of be hiding your interrun. You can just pull them out of the way. We're going to go back and fluff them later, so you're going to have to dig in there, but you can do it, promise. And again, like I said, if it sticks together, it sticks together. Just pull it apart and fluff it up. Let me do 1 in the center just so you get an idea. Let's use the black and white. When I bought this black and white, I bought it at Christmas and only bought 1 roll, and I'm very, very sad about it. Okay, so I have my bow tie. I mean, seriously, isn't that pretty? Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Put that down in there. Pull tight and 1 twist. Okay, so from here to finish this part out, you would go around and you would do your 2 layers in all 12 of the in or outside chenille stems, and then you would do 1 layer on all 6 on the middle. And then we're going to go back and we're going to add our ribbon. For ribbon, I like to layer a 2.5 inch wired ribbon with a 1.5 inch wired ribbon. So this is how it'll look. I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of pieces just so I can show you on the wreath. The ribbon I cut at 14 inches. Some people like to cut it at 12. I just personally like the longer ribbon. I like to see the ribbon is basically, I think at 12 inches or even 10 inches, it gets lost on the wreath.
Beth Ann, can I ask, is that ribbon wired?
It is wired.
Both of them.
Yes, I highly recommend only using wired ribbon. However, if you get ribbon that you absolutely adore and it's not wired and you want to use it, you can use spray starch. Spray it, let it dry, and then it's usually more malleable.
Do you have to iron it then, or just use the starch?
Just use the starch. You don't have to iron it. But with the wired ribbon, obviously, you have a lot more flexibility with it. And it'll stay where you put it, basically. Now, I typically like to use 4 different ribbons, 2 of the 2.5 and 2 of the 1.5, just because I like variety. And if you ask my husband, he'll tell you it's because I like to spend money. That too. So I'm going to cut enough, one to the center. Go. Okay, so with our ribbon, this is how you want to layer it. Some people will tell you that you put the ribbon that you like on top. I personally am too OCD for that. I have to have the big ribbon on the bottom, the little ribbon on the top. You do it the way you like it. And then, let me do it this way. We're going to sort of fold it in the middle. And since it's wired, you'll get a little peak there. And then right in that middle spot, we're again going to scrunch it up. Let's see how you have that little bow tie again. And then this is the most difficult part. And by difficult, I mean it's not at all. Okay, so sort of run your hand so you get that sort of curve to it. Nice curve. And then when we put it in the wreath, we want obviously the ribbon to be out towards the outside. So I'm just going to do a little bend. And I'm going to come back into the wreath. I'm on the outside. Remember, I have the white and the yellow on the outside. find my stem again. And just like before, I'm going to put it down. I'm going to take my stem, and I'm done in here. I'm not coming back to this spot. So twist it off 3 or 4 times. And then you can fix your ribbon. And again, we're going to come back and do this all at the end. I like to, you know, just sort of get it the way I like it. Let me do that in one of the empty stems so you can see. Okay, so I have the yellow and the birds, not birds, bees. Hold it in the middle. So I know where the middle is. And I'm going to scrunch it all together. I'm going to run my fingers over it just to give it that nice little curve. And on this side too. And then when I have it here, I want it to go towards the outside. So I'm going to put it in a little V. And then pretend that our mesh is here, but we're just going to open that stem up. We're going to put it down, tighten it, and then twist it. And then because you have the wire in it, you're able to fix that up. And then it'll be the same when you're in the middle. It's just, it may seem like you have to sort of dig to get there. In half. Scrunch it up. Some people say that this looks like a bird with its wings. And then I still want it to go to the outside, even though I'm putting it in the middle. I want it to go towards the outside of the wreath because my sign's going to be in the middle. So I'm going to dig in here, find my stem, put my ribbon down, and tighten it, and then twist 3 or 4 times. You're going to do that the whole way around. When you're all done, you've done the whole wreath with your ribbons and all of your mesh. You can take your stems, and I usually take a pen or a pencil. You can use a crochet hook, and I just sort of roll this down together. And then tuck it in. Especially in the middle, your sign's going to hide that. So you don't have to really worry about it. And on the outside, your mesh and your ribbon from the inside is going to hide that. So again, I roll it down. Sort of in a curly Q, and just sort of tuck it under. After you've got the whole thing done, the only thing left to do is add your sign. If you were doing a bow, you could add the bow. You can add a bow with the sign. You can put a bow off to the side and the sign on the other side. Whatever works for you. Now, I had said earlier that you can either use the holes, or if you have a sign that doesn't have holes, you can put hot glue and pipe cleaners and then just attach it. I am using floral wire. See if I have something dark under this. I don't. Can you see the floral wire? It's just wire. You can get it in the floral department of Joann's Hobby Lobby. It comes on a paddle like this. This is 26 gauge. It's just thin, pliable wire. And put your wire through the hole. Fold it in half. I like to do a little twist at the top of the sign, or at the top where the hole is. It's not necessary. It's just my preference.
Can you guys still see her, or does she look stalled?
We lost it. No.
Nope, she's not there anymore.
What?
No.
Your video's out. Well, now we totally lost her.
I don't know.
Oh, too bad.
Well, we were almost at the end, I think. It looked
Yeah.
like we were just wiring the sign on. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you
Got
guys
pretty far.
for joining us. We'll post a recording.